Oh, hey guys, how's it going? Just chugging some green tea here. You know how it is. So, what do we got for you tonight? Well, we got a double feature tonight. I don't think I've ever tested and reground two knives in one night. At least, I don't think I've shot that scenario. So, got two knives to test. The Benchmade Super Freek in M4, right here. We're gonna test this, and then we're gonna go down to about 12 thou behind the edge, as requested by the customer. Next, we have an LT Wright Knives Patriot. This is a 3V. We're also gonna go pretty thin with this since he's not going to do much batoning with it, and not much, ferro fire starting with it. So we're going to go thin with that. And yeah, we're going to do the full gamut. I promise you it's not going to be that long. I'm going to edit it down so you guys can see the nitty gritty. But I think tonight is kind of special because we're gonna start to get in a feel for like how these steels perform. Even though we don't really know the HRC because I haven't been testing them, we can get them tested. We can also gauge off of the testing that that's been going on with the HRC stuff. Some of these knives have been in those tests, so we can kind of gauge that. We can definitely start to see an increase in performance from the behind the edge. And yeah, there's actually, three big testers out there as far as rope cuts. I'm not one of them, contrary to popular belief. You have Pete from Cedric and Ada. You have a Polish guy. I can't remember his name. It starts with a P. I will post it up right here. And then there's also Jim Ankerson, also gonna go right here. And those three guys, tested a lot of rope cutting, a lot of data, and all of that can be found, at knifestillnerds.com. And what they're finding out is that behind the edge has a little, again, not direct performance as far as wear resistance, but we're getting a performance increase, and it correlates with that edge retention and the wear, and not so much the wear resistance of the steel, because that's all determined by the hardness and the composition and the edge geometry. So we're going to start to see that with these steels. I can tell you right now, I sharpened this LT Wright Knives 3V, and it is soft. It's very soft. That burr came up instantly. However, the reason why it's soft is because this is a bushcrafter style outdoorsy knife where we're sacrificing that edge retention for toughness. And we need to start realizing that it's all also about use and the types of things we're going to cut with our knives. Again, like I said before, you're not going to take a Japanese Gyuto at 7,000 behind the edge and go at a chopping competition. This is not going to happen. You're going to get destroyed. This I'm not going to take into a sashimi slicing competition and try to win. I'm going to get destroyed. And these are things that we just need to take into consideration. I mean, if you're going to go out, we want a knife that does everything. But again, this knife might be heat treated fairly well, but I'm probably not going to baton with it or anything like that. And I'm going to purchase knives that suit my needs. This would be a nice bushcrafter. This would be like a nice going out knife, cut up some steak knife, cut up some boxes knife. I might, you know, I might get a Japanese gyuto for the kitchen. I might get this or that. And I think it's not it's not the buyer's fault for thinking that they want a knife that does everything. I think it's the manufacturers selling these knives and making false claims and stating that, hey, like this should be able to do this because this marketing video is right. No, that's to sell you fucking knives and to pour that bullshit down your throat. That's all that's for. So I just, you know, wanted to do this double test to just show that we're going to get different numbers. We're going to get difference in edge performance. We've already tested, I think we tested 4B, but I was on cardboard. And there's some 3B tests out there with rope cutting, and there's data on that Knife Steel Nerds article, but it's all a sacrifice. If you're willing to sacrifice one for the other, then go for it. If you want a knife that's hard as shit in 3V, then seek out a maker and have them make you one. That's the way it's going to be played. So we're going to get down to this test. I'm going to do the regrind. We're going to wrap up with the regrind results. Here! that was a fun regrind. This little guy is soft, probably 58, 57. I guess Benchmade did the heat treat on this. Not bad though. We're gonna see results. And then we have this guy. I don't know why they didn't do a satin blade. I know that on the original Freak, they did a satin blade, but I think the guy that designed this, or at least that's what I heard on reviews, he's a Deadpool fan, so that's why it's black and red. But yeah, so that's what we have for that. And we're going to get into the test and do the results. Let's see if we get a performance increase. All right? So, get right into it. Hopefully my battery doesn't die. So, the M4. Okay, 12 thou. That's where we're at. 12 thou. $15. Yep, 15 thou. All right, for the results. So I ran the M4 first, the Benchmade. It didn't do better than the Spyderco. And my guess is because of two reasons. Maybe the heat treat is different on this, and also the behind the edge thickness to start out was not the same as the Spyderco, and the final edge thickness was not the same as the Spyderco. I think I went a little bit thinner on that one, if I do recall. And this one's at 12 thou. So, the initial test with just DMT coarse, DMT fine, no regrind. It did a total of 200 cuts. So, you know, we're slicing, push cut slicing. So it did 100 times 2, which is 200 total cuts. With the regrind, 12 thou behind the edge, it did a total of 160 times our multiplier, 2. So it did 320 cuts. That is a 60% increase in performance and a difference of 46.1%, which is pretty good. That's not bad. I'll take that all day. The LT Wright 3V. I know this is softer. I wish I knew the HRC on this. It just felt soft sharpening. It felt soft grinding. The initial was 70 passes times 2, which is 140 cuts. Not the greatest. Also, there's not a lot of carbide formers in 3V, so we don't get that wear resistance, but we do get that toughness. That's a very toughness steel. I think a lot of people get toughness and edge retention confused. Toughness is like, I could take this and just smash it on the edge of this workbench, whereas edge retention is not tough. Like, you don't need a tough knife to have a lot of edge retention. You just need a lot of carbide formers, a lot of carbides. You know, your vanadium carbides, your chromium carbides, and your niobium carbides all relate to some form of edge retention. There's also tungsten carbides, which are very, very hard. That's why we have steels like Maximate, which can also utilize those carbides as well as utilize them in other areas. So this one, initial 70 passes times 2, 140 cuts. Regrind, 15 thou behind the edge. We got 100 passes or 200 cuts. That's a 35% or 42.8% increase, and a difference of 35.2. That's not bad. It's not bad for a 3V. I would take that all day. If it had a different heat treat and if it was a little bit thinner, probably would have done better. Those are factors that correlate with those types of numbers. This thing, there's a lot of reviews on this that it was a slicey knife. It's not a slicey knife. It definitely needed a regrind. And I guess sharpening it the second time, because it was so thin behind the, or because I did take it down so thin, it was a little bit easier to sharpen. And I mean, M4 is like, so there's two things about M4. It started out as a tool steel, which I'm going to talk about on Sunday. Talk about tool steels. It's a tool steel. It's been around for ages. It's a very good steel. I think there's some people that give it shit, and they shouldn't. If that was around 64, 65, and it had that 12 thou behind the edge, it would be fucking mint. It would be a perfect knife. But because we have, you know, marketing and all this other shit, oh, it's 4V, it's gonna be fucking tough as shit, bro. It's gonna be fucking awesome. Yeah, it's a tough steel, but for different applications. So if that 4B was on this knife and we had it around 61 HRC, be fucking perfect. It'd be tough as nails. And that's that's what like competition choppers and like tough knives utilize that M4 for that toughness, but they also run it fairly high for that kind of steel. Like 60 HRC is pretty hard for a lot of steels. For M4 it's not. And I think it could be ran harder. It's still gonna maintain its toughness. 64, 65 would be perfect in this kind of application. But I don't know. For the cost of this, I didn't see the benefit for the cost, you know. So that's where that is. Yeah, got some D2 coming in. Oh fuck. That had a little technical difficulties. So yeah. I got D2 coming in. We're gonna test that. A custom D2 against a production D2, and that should be interesting. We can look at stats on that and then correlate that with our results. But yeah, overall, I think this regrind turned out very well. I wanted to give it a nice satin finish. Well, not satin, but grind belt satin, you know? And yeah, I think it's gonna get a nice patina. I think it's gonna be a nice slicer once the owner gets it. And yeah. So Sunday, gonna talk about tool steel. Gonna go through just the different types, not the history, because that's on the fucking internet. You can look it up. Different types, kind of what the makeup is a little bit. I'm not fucking metallurgist. I'm not super keen on all that stuff, and still learning just like everyone else. But yeah, I think these knives did exceptionally well for what the intended use was for. This is intended to be, you know, a camping bushcrafter neck knife type of thing. I need to beat through this, I need to slice through this. It's not for preparing fine pieces of fish or, you know, super precision tasks. It's meant to be tough. Likewise with this, it's not, I don't know what they were going for with this knife, honestly. I mean, I like the Deadpool motif, but I don't know. I would have ran like a, not M4 on it. Would have ran something else. And if I did, I would have ran it a lot higher than it is. So this is a decent knife though. It looks nice reground, that's for sure. But yeah. Thanks for watching. You guys have any questions, let me know. If you have any comments, let me know. If you want me to test anything, let me know. If you want me to shut the fuck up, let me know. If you want to let me know what you want me to talk about, let me know. Yeah, we'll have more regrinds and we'll have hopefully more customs so we can test customs versus production. That's the whole purpose of this. But yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good night.